You're going to want to use these templated facility booking agreements in order to build your facility booking agreements off of. It's a simple matter of simply going into the facility agreement folder and selecting either the facility booking agreement summary or the facility booking agreement tab. Once you select the agreement, the editor will pop up. Let's take a look at the editor. You'll notice the Hide button, which allows you to hide the system file. A Save As, but not a Save button. That's because you can't save over a system template. You simply have to save it under a new name. A Print and Clear button, if you wish to print or clear this screen area. The name of the document, over here, and again you can edit this document by simply selecting it, if it was a non-system one. On the right-hand side, you'll notice the Merge object. This is the object in which PerfectMind draws the information for this document from. You'll note here that the object is Facility Contract Agreement. The Facility Contract Agreement object contains the information that will display in this contract. It's very important that when we create a new document, this information will be included. So let's take a look at this. How do we edit this? Like any standard HTML editor, you'll notice that there's fields over here for justification, bullets, numbering, text, background, foreground colors, images, etc. It may not be required to go into that much detail, because really we simply need to edit the content of this document. So let's take a look at this. The first thing you'll note is this image where it says PerfectMind. This is a merge field that comes from the system based on the organizational image. So you may not need to edit this. This image is the one image that's found under Settings and Organizational Settings. So if we go back to Your Name Settings, you'll notice the image here. This is the image that's still being drawn and put over here. Changing the title of the agreement is simply writing over the text. If you wish to re-justify this, you can simply use these tools up here to create different tables and ways of doing this. It's highly recommended that you simply write over this text and render the information as you want. Once you've done that, simply go down to each additional area. Enter this information. If it's not required, you can simply delete this by selecting the Delete button, or put the information that you want. And then simply go down and look at every section here and make sure that the wording is what you want. Again, it's recommended that this information really remain the same and not be altered. Don't be concerned about how this information goes off screen, as you can see here. It's simply the merge fields pushing it further off. If you actually look at the completed document, this all falls within this range. The next area of interest is down where it says Conditions of Use. Remember when we discussed both facilities and services that they had conditions of use on the facility and conditions of use on the service. This is where the information populates into the contract. If your facility had a condition of use connected to it, it would automatically be displayed here. So let's say we had a gymnasium and one of the conditions of use for the gymnasium was not wearing marking shoes. Well, what we can do here is that we can write the condition of use on the facility level, and then when we generate the contract, because there's a condition of use on the facility, it would automatically populate here. That's very handy when there's specific conditions of use for individual facilities. However, if the condition of use is the same across the entire organization, you wouldn't need to put it here. You would simply place it somewhere else in the document down below. The same is true for the service. We have a service called Meeting Rooms. If the service Meeting Rooms has information in the condition of use, it will be populated here on every contract. So it doesn't matter what room I reserve for the meeting rooms, because there's a condition of use on the service level, which is one level up, it will be displayed here. If there is a condition of use both on the facility and service level, they will both be displayed, because when we're making a reservation through the service, the condition of use for the service will be displayed, and if we're making a reservation from in a facility, the condition of that facility will be displayed. Of course, if there is no condition of use at the facility or service, this information will simply be blank. If you do not use the service or facility conditions of use, you can simply take these fields and remove them from the database. Contract, that is. In addition, you may want to add your own language based on the verbiage and legalese of your organization. This can be done by simply taking that information and pasting it anywhere in this document below the conditions of use. You can also, of course, change the conditions of terminology by simply copying over and writing a new value. Questionnaires. Perfect Mind gives you the ability to ask questionnaires in the facility booking process. This section will display the questionnaires that were related to any bookings that might have been filled out. So if you had a questionnaire that was filled out during the reservation process, the answer to those questionnaires would also be populated on the agreement. This is recommended because you want people to be signing off on what they've answered in the questionnaire. And the last is the release of waiver and liability. Again, these are simply templates in the system. All you need to do is take the information from your contracts and paste it into this section, simply by going Control-C and then Control-V. There may be some modest formatting that's required to clean it up, but ultimately you would simply take your information and place it below the contract totals in this area over here. Once completed, simply click Save As, give it a new name, and click Save As. Once you've done that, a new document will appear under the Facility Booking Agreement folder, as you can see here. Now this new document does not have the lock icon because it was made by you, so it's not a system generated one. If we click into this, we have the ability not to hide, but to delete. When I click the delete button, it will still be moved to the recycling bin, just like hiding. Now the only difference is that when we can also restore it, of course, but if you like, you can also permanently delete it from the system. So now we have the new agreement meeting rooms, which we just deleted. It's not a system one. However, we can select this and then delete it permanently or restore it back. In this case, I'll delete it permanently. So in summary, if you go to Clients, Manage Documents, then navigate to the Facility Booking Agreement folder, you'll notice that there's two documents in the system. There's two agreements, one a summary and one a full. If you select either of these documents, you have the ability to edit them based on your requirements. You can change the titles, the language, the spelling. You can technically also move fields and information around. It's recommended that you keep the format here. There's a conditions of use area, which will display the facility conditions of use or the service of conditions of use, and you can also paste your information in this area as well. There's answers to the questionnaires if the questionnaire was filled out, and then there's a release of waiver and liability. Again, anything below the contract total area is an area where you can take and post your information from your current agreements. Once this information has been pasted and formatted to your liking, simply click Save As. Give it a new name, click Save As again, and it'll appear in the Facility Booking Agreement. Once you've created your documents based off of the templates, you will no longer want these templates to be shown so they're not accidentally selected during the facility booking process. Simply select the document when you're finished with it, the template, and then hide it. Once you hide it, it'll be moved to the recycling bin, and it'll remain there permanently until you either restore it, otherwise it stays there. Also note that if you do have any very complex contract agreements which you find difficult to configure yourself, the professional services staff at Perfect Mind can also assist with the creation of these contracts. A modest fee would, of course, apply.